Yo, that's crazy. It's the final path of 8.1.1. Oh my goodness. Yeah, save the easiest one for last, and it's like the easiest by far. Mystic Focus, Mystic Consumption. Mystic Focus, you hold block, you gain power gain. Mystic Consumption, every special you throw, you get a prowess. Or is it specials? I think it's nullify. I don't remember. Oh no, it's nullifies. Every nullify you get a prowess. Whatever. But Scared Stiff, if you don't throw specials before that timer runs out, you get rooted and catatonic. If you're rooted, you get a bunch of debuffs on you. It doesn't really matter. Like this path, all you gotta do is just have mystics that can throw specials, or just hold block if you're a mystic. So the strategy here was just to bring in my four of my strongest mystics in magic. Magic is excluded from my strongest, not because she's like awful or anything. She's a 5-star. She doesn't really get used for much anymore. Her power gain, or her power lock, and the holding cycle was super useful back when I was playing through Act 5 and stuff. Act 6 even a little bit, but nowadays it's like so many better options, especially with my brand new fancy schmancy rank 4 Doom. Like, who cares if they're throwing a little bit of specials if the specials they're throwing aren't the ones that are scary, But magic is still brought to this quest because, well, she's my go-to Terrax counter, and there's a big bad Terrax on this path. So, why not? Yeah, there are better counters, but she's the one who I learned to counter Terrax with. I used to use her in War a lot, used to use her in all the quests with Terrax in them. Even if the nose didn't favor her, I would just bring her along anyway. Just because, well, she just does a really good job, because if you can stop him from gaining power, you stop him from throwing specials, which also stops him from getting his little rock field. And that's how he damages you. So it's really just, it's a no-brainer, right? Just why she locks him down. It's just such a shame that she's really squishy. You take a few hits and you're dead. And you'll see in the fight where I go up against the Terrax, I do start losing health. I do start, going down, down, down. I end up at something like 30-40% health by the end of it. It's pretty much a perfect fight. It's just the block damage kills me. And yeah, you could play through intercepting, but that's more risky and more stressful, honestly. Playing us at Terrax, if I know I'm just going to use magic for the one fight, I'll normally just use the parries and take them down slowly the way I do later on. There's not much to write home about the rest of these fights. It's really just Doom being Doom and holding block, getting that power, getting to special 3, and then Doom cycling for the win. I don't even know if I ever get rooted in this path. Maybe I do once because I forget about it and just am not throwing a special, but unlikely considering how easy it is to bypass it because the timer gets reset anyway when you're hitting the defender. So yeah, it's not much, it's not much to worry about, no much to feel. But I don't know. There's really not much to talk about for this path. It's just let's all use the mystic class type of thing. Well, I mean, there was another path like that, the Cosmic Grit, where it's let's all use cosmics, which is, it's okay, it's fine, and it kind of worked. I got to use Best Girl Angela, and now I got to use Best Boy Doom, because who else to control the power like this? And who else to have this much strength when throwing specials anyway? Yeah, Dragon Man's cool and all, but fuck is he gonna do? His special rotation does take a while, and yeah, it's strong when it gets ramped up, and yeah, he does have that damage and mitigation off of his special 3, but it's just not as, it's a lot of fun, but it's not as fast. I think that's the biggest thing that I gotta worry about here is speed. Sorcerer Supreme, again, a very powerful champion, very strong at controlling, the way Doom does, but she doesn't have that damage until she's awakened and her potencies get increased and all that. But I don't have her awakened. I do still enjoy using her a lot. It's just such a shame. But yeah, so here's the Terrax fight. 500,000 health, or 520,000 health, I should say. Taking him on with a magic with 28k health. You can see the difference between the health of my magic and my Doom, where it's she's got a fraction of his health and a fraction of his attack, and yet she's able to control this fight far better than Doom could, because Terrax is, immune to shock, and, that means that Doom's gonna have a harder time getting those staggers on him and controlling his power, and he's also, whatchamacallit, he's also very much, I think he's immune to power drain. Not immune to, it's not power drain, it's, God, it's something. I don't know. All I know is that Doom's an awful choice for Terrax. I tried it a few times back before I actually learned how to fight Terrax, and it's all bad. Back with my 4-star Doom, I was still running him, but then I got Magic, and I actually had a real answer for Terrax. I think before Terrax, the person who I would use all the time would be Namor, because I did have a maxed out Namor as a 5-star way back when. But Namor's cool and all, but it's a lot more. You have to play really aggressive, and if the nodes don't call for aggressiveness, Namor is kind of just dead in the water because he can't reflect damage unless you're being aggressive. Meanwhile, Magic can just shut him completely down. You can see he hasn't been able to throw a single special, and he hasn't been able to throw out his rock field since the very beginning of this fight where he starts with it. And the Limbo is helping me regain some of the health that I am losing to his blocks. But it's very small amounts, and well, as you can see, like I do end up still taking a small amount of damage. It's lots of chip damage. That's the problem with Magic, is you end up taking some good amounts of chip damage if you don't play it like perfectly correctly. So normally she's like just my one fight pony. I just use her for Terrax, or I use her for one single fight where I need to be power locked, or I need to have the opponent power locked because I don't want to deal with her specials or whatever. And then everything else I do with some other champion, or I just have to toughen up and get good. But I'm not good, not in that sense anyway. As you can see, it's very, very controlled fight. Terrax has 0 power, and he will remain at pretty much 0 power the whole fight. Even if he does get to a bar, I've got my special 2 to power drain him back down to 0 as I'm inflicting that power lock, and he really just can't do much about it, it's just, I don't know, she's so powerful, which maybe that is why, obviously that is why she's not being released as a 6-star, because could you imagine someone at the attack power of my Doom, along with an actually decent amount of health for these kinds of fights, and being able to control the defender like the way she does, it's it'd be a little scary. But then you say that, but then you have people like fucking Gallon, who can just nuke down in half a defender's health in just one single cycle, or Quicksilver. These two are released in the same month, man. Quicksilver's fucking crazy. He can do so much, and for such little, it does take a little bit, and you do have to ramp him up, but it can be done. Same with Shang-Chi, it's all about ramp up. Magic is, it's easy access to this kind of control, but so does Doom. Doom's special 1 is not even a special 2, it's a special 1 for his power drain. And then his cycle is just infinitely repeating, which is what makes him so good. So then you have to beg the question of if all these other powerful people are in the game as 6-stars, why can't Magic be? Why are Magic and Wolverine, Wolverine even is stuck at a 5-star level, even though he is not that great. Even with Apox boost as a horseman and his synergy for the critical bleeds, it's still not the best. And as you can see, look at that, Magic sat down at 40% health, like I said. All that chip damage slowly kills her. Basically a perfect fight. Terrax didn't hit her once. It was just all block damage. But yeah, it's just all these champions that are just stuck at 5-stars, and it's mainly just to, I'm sure there's some other reasons into it, but people always like to bring up the argument of, they'd be too powerful, but then you can point to all the champions that have been released in the past 2 years that are still powerful, or all the ones that are that have been buffed or got released in years prior that are insanely good, and yet still have 6-stars the way these champions don't. Or if you want to go the power route, there's also, the reason of Wolverine still being a 5-star, which just makes no sense, because he's not amazing. It's his regen that's good, but fucking Cersei could do the same thing, just one hit with her special 2, and she'll go back up to full health if you hit it right, if you have her ramped up. So I don't know, it's a give and take. And I mean the one champion who I will understand staying at a 5-star is probably Quake, because as a former avid Quake user, it makes sense. I could finish fights without taking a single hit of damage, and keeping her at a 5-star means that the fights get longer and longer the more the more health that these defenders in the quest get. So people are using Quake less and less, and all the fucking the True Lies or whatever, or not True Lies, No, no, true sense on defenders and stuff that like prevents evasion, prevents Quake from even working at all. It's Quake and Ghost, to be fair, um, which is kind of sad. It really is. And also, Ghost is a 6-star, bro. Just give me Magic as a 6-star. That's all I'm saying. Just let me have her. I'm gonna do great things. Used to use her so much. She's so good, but there's not much use for her nowadays, considering she's so squishy with such low attack. And it's all about the control, but you can't control forever when you're taking that much block damage. And the fact that she has no immunities either, which I mean, it makes sense. I mean, what the fuck is she gonna like be immune to? Half her body's not even covered. But I don't know. The CGR fights, it's a little bit more difficult considering Doom is a villain. CGR punishes that, but it's not like the most impossible fight in the world. All of his buffs get nullified, and there's nothing he can really do if I don't let him, throw anything out. But I don't know. Yeah, I honestly probably could have done this entire quest with just Doom and Magic. Didn't even need these other 3 slots. These are just backup slots. Just in case, And if I'm being real, I have not used Dragon Man seriously since I took down the champion. I've used him in like, event quests or whatever, quests where it's like, oh, you need to be unstoppable or unblockable or whatever, because, Dragon Man's got that access to unstoppable on his special 3 and is unblockable on heavies. But beyond that, there's not really, like, there's just always been someone better. And the worst part about Dragon Man is he doesn't really punish buffs, he just gets stronger, but it's only if he's awakened, right? Which sucks because, it's not even that much of a boost unless he's like maxed out awakening, right? Full Sig 200, which is just so lame. I don't know, he's a pure brawler type of champion, which is fine. It's not very useful for stuff like where I use my mystics, where like I need control over pure brawling, which is why I used him so much for the champion. Is because that fight is just a pure brawl. If you're both unstoppable and Dragon Man can heal when he's unstoppable, it's like watching two like big ol' dudes just punch each other back and forth, not stopping. It's so much fun. But I don't know, ever since there's just not that much use. Really and truly, there just isn't. Anything Dragon Man can do in terms of like controlling fights, anyone else can do so much better. Which is just, I don't know. Wish I had a use for him, because I got lucky enough to pull both versions, and I've got both of them decently high ranked, My 6 stars rank 2, my 5 stars rank 5, but, I don't know. If I had an excuse to rank them up, I might, but as of right now, there just isn't one. Also, I have 8 prowesses, so special 2's gonna hit like a truck, look at that. Yeah. I do really want to get Sorcerer Supreme to be ranked up, though. She's sitting pretty at rank 2, and she's done so much for me. Because there's a lot of fights that she can do that, my go-to mystic now, that, Dr. Doom, he just can't do. Things where you need, like, countering unstoppables, where you need to slow, or you need an armor break and a slow. Sorcerer Supreme's got you. Or if you need to be power gained, and, you got, like, stuff like reduction in your combat power rate, Sorcerer Supreme bypasses that, because she gains passive power rate as well, on top of her own combat power rate, which is really good and also really useful for these kinds of fights where it's like, you have reduction in power rate, or you have a reduction whatever, but you need to use specials. You get Sorcerer Supreme plus like her synergy with Silver Centurion, who I also have, and I use pretty damn often actually. She makes it really, you get to that first bar power really quickly. You pick her P-Fight, depending on what you need for the fight, and you either get that slow, that armor break, or that regen on block, and you'll have that special one immediately ready to go. So if you need to stop an unstoppable defender, you'll have it, and it's so useful for so many scenarios. But I don't know. So I'm thinking of maybe ranking her at the very least to rank 3, just to have her up there, because I've got the materials. I just gotta have the willpower, I think, and the gold. Oh my god, the gold. Consistently out of gold. That is my life story. No matter what I do. But Yeah, as you can just look at, 4 times I fought this guy, and every single time I I activate Caltrops. You'd think I learned by now, and also, I could just be using Claire. Claire has bleed immunity. What the fuck am I doing? I don't think. I tap on screen like a monkey brained idiot. Herder Doom has strong specials. Yeah, like I wouldn't even have to bother. I could actually just gain power with Claire if I just used her. I don't know what I'm doing, man. Yeah, it'd take longer, but it'd be more fun. Could you imagine all that power gain? Because she gains power every time she's immune to a debuff, or the defender's immune to a debuff, or a debuff that she can inflict based on her stance, right? And it's just like, damn. Wish that were me right now. Instead, I'm activating Caltrops twice now in this fight. And losing health to that rather than losing health to actually Hood. It's so sad. You'd think I learned. Thank God Doom has a lot of health. So if he didn't, oh my god. Could you imagine how many times I'd be dead by now? 1,000,000 times over. Oh my god, a third Caltrops. Jesus Christ. I really just don't care anymore. I mean, considering how fast this path went, I guess it makes sense, you know? There's not really a need to play safe when I have this many, attackers left against a defender who really is just, like, a snooze fest. Like, this fight is a snooze fest, and it's laughable, even. The only note that really matters is the Caltrops one. Can't even tell you what the other ones are, nor do I really care what they are. If I cared enough, I might actually look them up, but eh. Because even look at that. Resisted that because I had my little aura. Now I'm gonna hit him again with the special. I've lost 70% health to the freaking Caltrops node. I guarantee you the 2% off that 30 is from Hood, and the rest of that's from the Caltrops. Guarantee you. But it's okay. Just keep him from using specials. Just keep hitting him in. And look at that. That's 8.1.1 done.